Unexplained maritime disasters and ghost ships. The SS Valencia, graveyard of the Pacific. The Pacific Ocean, off Vancouver Island's rugged coast, dubbed the graveyard of the Pacific, has long terrified sailors with its sudden storms and towering waves that engulf ships. Among its many victims is the SS Valencia, a steamship launched in 1882 for coastal routes between San Francisco, Seattle, and Alaska. On January 20th, 1906, with 108 passengers and crew aboard, the Valencia left San Francisco for Seattle. Rough weather greeted her departure, but disaster struck when thick fog led her off course, crashing into a reef near Vancouver Island. Water flooded the lower decks, sparking panic as lifeboats launched into violent seas, many capsizing instantly. Survivors clung to the wreckage as the ship broke apart, with only 37 rescued after a day-long delay. Over time, eerie sightings of a spectral ship resembling the Valencia, empty lifeboats and skeletons in decayed vests have fueled local lore, suggesting the ocean holds onto its secrets. This haunting tale remains a stark reminder of the sea's unforgiving nature. The High Aim 6, a modern ghost ship. Not all maritime mysteries involve wrecks. Some ships vanish with their crews intact. The High Aim 6, a Taiwanese fishing vessel, departed Luchu, Taiwan in late 2002 with a crew of 10, including Captain Chen Tai-chung, for a routine fishing trip. Weeks later, with no contact, concern mounted. On January 8, 2003, an Australian Coast Guard patrol found the ship 800 miles off Western Australia, undamaged, engine running, fuel full, and supplies untouched, including fresh fish in ice. Yet, all crew members were gone, with no signs of struggle or distress. One crew member, Suprianto, later claimed a mutiny led to murders, but offered no details, leaving authorities baffled. Theories of piracy, illegal activity, or abandonment were explored, but no lifeboats or evidence emerged. Towed back to Taiwan, the High Aim 6 yielded no answers, cementing its status as a 21st century enigma. The Marine Sulphur Queen, Bermuda Triangle vanishing. The SS Marine Sulphur Queen, a T-2 tanker converted in 1944 to carry molten sulfur at 275 degrees, vanished on February 2, 1963, during a routine trip from Beaumont, Texas, to Norfolk, Virginia, with 39 crew members. Passing near the Bermuda Triangle, the 523-foot ship sent a routine radio update on February 4th near Key West, then fell silent. A massive Coast Guard search over 350,000 square miles yielded little, only life preserver fragments, an oil slick, and minor debris. Theories abound. Structural failure from an aging hull and risky sulfur cargo might have caused an explosion or fire, sinking it rapidly. Sudden storms or rogue waves in the Florida Straits are also suspected. Bermuda Triangle myths suggest electromagnetic interference, though unproven. Legal battles followed, with the Coast Guard citing poor maintenance as the likely cause, but no wreckage or bodies were found, leaving the ship's fate a lingering mystery. The Cas de Seine, a deserted catamaran. On April 15, 2007, the Cas 2, a 32-foot catamaran, left Airlie Beach, Queensland, Australia, with 3 experienced sailors, skipper Derek Batten, 56, and brothers Peter and James Tunstead, 69 and 63, for a coastal journey to Townsville and beyond. 3 days later, a surveillance plane spotted the vessel drifting 88 nautical miles from Townsville, sails loose and unmanned. Boarding revealed a surreal scene. The engine ran, a laptop was on, a prepared meal sat untouched, and personal items, including wallets and passports, remained. Only minor sail damage hinted at trouble, but no life jackets were used, and no distress calls were made. A search found no trace of the crew. Theories include a rogue wave sweeping them overboard during a rescue attempt, or a fishing line pulling one in, with others following. A medical emergency or wilder tales of foul play linger, but without evidence, the Cas 2's abandonment remains an unsettling puzzle. The Carroll A. Deering, abandoned schooner. The Carroll A. Deering, a 5-masted schooner built in 1919, set out from Virginia in 1920 to deliver coal to Brazil under Captain William Merritt, who fell ill and was replaced by W.B. Wormel. After a successful return trip, it departed Brazil in December 1920, last seen heading to the U.S. On January 31, 1921, it was found aground off North Carolina near Cape Hatteras intact, but deserted. No crew, lifeboats, or personal items were present, only half-eaten meals and a missing logbook. Pirates, mutiny, or a storm prompting abandonment were considered, but no struggle or cargo loss supported these. Its path near the Bermuda Triangle sparked speculation of unusual conditions, or even a government cover-up linked to another vanished ship, the SS Hewell. Battered by waves until it broke apart, the Carroll A. Deering's crew's fate remains an unsolved maritime riddle. The SS El Faro, a recorded tragedy. The SS El Faro, a 790-foot cargo ship built in 1975, left Jacksonville, Florida, on September 29, 2015, for San Juan, Puerto Rico, with 33 crew members. As Tropical Storm Joaquin intensified into a Category 4 hurricane, the experienced Captain Michael Davidson steered into its path, believing they could navigate the edges. On October 1st, the ship lost propulsion and took on water, listing heavily. Voyage data recordings captured the crew's desperate pleas as it entered the eye wall, cutting off mid-sentence. A search found wreckage lifeboats, a life ring, but the ship sank 15,000 feet deep, intact. The official cause was mechanical failure amid the storm, but debates linger over whether an earlier course change or the ship's age, outdated lifeboats, could have saved it. Known final moments heighten the tragedy's haunting impact. The SS Edmund Fitzgerald, Lake Superior's lost queen. Launched in 1958, the 729-foot SS Edmund Fitzgerald was the Great Lakes' largest freighter, hauling iron ore with pride until November 10, 1975. Departing Superior, Wisconsin for Detroit with 26,000 tons of taconite, Captain Ernest McSorley and 28 crew faced a brewing winter storm. By November 9th, 25-foot waves and 60 mph winds battered the ship, damaging railings and disabling radar. At 7:10 p.m., McSorley radioed the Arthur M. Anderson, "We are holding our own," then vanished. No distress call or survivors emerged. Debris washed ashore days later, with the wreck located in two pieces 500 feet down. Theories include structural failure under the load, grounding on uncharted terrain, or a 35-foot rogue wave. No bodies were recovered, fueling its mystique, immortalized in Gordon Lightfoot's 1976 ballad. The site, now a protected grave, holds its secrets tight. Ghost ships and maritime enigmas. The Lyubov Orlova, a drifting Soviet relic. Built in 1976, the Lyubov Orlova was a Soviet-era cruise ship crafted for Arctic expeditions, ferrying passengers through icy waters to witness polar landscapes and wildlife. By the early 2000s, the vessel had deteriorated, left to rust in a Canadian harbor. In 2013, it was scheduled for scrapping in the Dominican Republic and towed from Newfoundland. However, a fierce North Atlantic storm snapped the tow line, setting the unmanned ship adrift. Canadian authorities briefly recaptured it, but released it, deeming it no longer their responsibility. Sightings of the 4,150-ton ship trickled in for months, but its location remained unconfirmed. Some speculated it sank, while others feared it drifted as a hazard, possibly infested with rats turned cannibalistic due to lack of food. With no verified sinking or wreckage, the Lyubov Orlova remains a modern ghost ship, potentially still wandering the Atlantic, its eerie fate unknown. The SS Orang Medan, a chilling legend. In the late 1940s, the SS Orang Medan, allegedly a Dutch freighter, reportedly sent a haunting distress call in the Strait of Malacca. The Morse code message claimed, "All officers, including captain, dead, lying in chart room," and bridge, possibly whole crew dead, followed by a final, cryptic, "I die." Rescuers found the ship adrift, its crew lifeless, frozen in terror, mouths agape, eyes wide, as if horrified by an unseen force. Even the ship's dog lay dead, contorted in fear. No wounds, struggle, or damage were evident, and the cargo remained intact. As rescuers towed the vessel, smoke emerged from below, leading to a sudden fire and explosion that sank it, erasing any chance of investigation. Theories range from smuggled chemical leaks like nerve agents causing convulsions to carbon monoxide poisoning. Supernatural claims of ghostly forces or UFOs persist, but skeptics note no official records confirm the ship's existence, suggesting it may be a sailor's tale, amplified over time. The USS Cyclops, a naval vanishing. The USS Cyclops, a 540-foot collier built in 1910 for the U.S. Navy, was a vital World War I supply ship, carrying 10,000 tons of manganese ore from Brazil to Baltimore in February 1918. After a stop in Barbados, the ship, with 306 crew members, vanished without a distress signal or debris. The Navy's extensive search found nothing, marking it one of the largest non-combat losses in U.S. naval history. Theories include structural failure, its single-beam hull and engine issues made it vulnerable to snapping in half or a rogue wave, though no wreckage supports this. Sabotage by German spies during wartime or mutiny has been speculated, as has the Bermuda Triangle's influence, given its route. Two sister ships, USS Proteus and USS Nereus, also disappeared in the Atlantic with similar cargoes, fueling theories of a shared cause. A century later, the Cyclops remains an unsolved enigma. The MV Yanseng, a mysterious drifter. In 2006, an Australian Coast Guard patrol spotted the MV Yanseng drifting near the Gulf of Carpentaria, between northern Australia and Papua New Guinea. The rusted tanker bore no registration or markings, and no crew was aboard. Its cargo hold contained only a large stockpile of rice, with no logbooks, personal items, or signs of recent activity. The ship showed no significant damage or emergency signs, yet no records of its existence were found. Theories suggest it was a resupply vessel for smuggling, abandoned after use. But why leave it intact? Mechanical failure prompting crew abandonment is possible, but no distress calls or missing crew reports surfaced. Some speculate illegal activities like trafficking, though unproven. The ship was towed and scuttled off Australia, but its origins and purpose remain a baffling mystery. The Blenheim, a warship's silent disappearance. In 1807, the Blenheim, a 74-gun British warship repurposed for merchant duties, set sail from Madras, India to Britain, accompanied by the Harrier. Commanded by Admiral Sir Thomas Troubridge, a decorated but controversial officer known for strict discipline, the aging ship was in poor condition. A violent storm in the Indian Ocean separated the vessels. The Harrier survived, but the Blenheim vanished without a distress call or wreckage. Search efforts failed, and theories emerged. The storm may have broken the ship apart, or a mutiny, fueled by Troubridge's harsh leadership, led the crew to disappear intentionally. Later sailor sightings of a battered, empty warship in the region always gone before investigation deepened the mystery, leaving the Blenheim's fate unresolved. The SS Poet, a modern vanishing. On October 24, 1980, the SS Poet, a World War II-era cargo ship, left Philadelphia for Port Said, Egypt, with 34 crew members and a load of corn. The 522-foot vessel, despite its age, was deemed seaworthy. After a routine radio check the next morning, it went silent, missing scheduled check-ins near the Azores and failing to reach Egypt. A U.S. Coast Guard search found no distress signals, debris, or life rafts. Theories include a rogue wave sinking it too quickly for a signal, or a structural failure like a hull breach causing rapid flooding. Political motives, piracy or interference due to its Middle Eastern destination, or covert operations, such as an arms shipment, are speculated but unproven. In 1989, the Coast Guard declared it lost, leaving families without closure and the Poet a ghostly absence in the Atlantic. The Mary Celeste, the quintessential ghost ship, launched in 1861 as the Amazon, the Mary Celeste, a 103-foot merchant brigantine, faced early misfortunes, captain's death, collisions, and a fire-earning whispers of a curse. Renamed and under Captain Benjamin Briggs, it left New York on November 7, 1872, for Genoa, Italy. with Briggs, his wife, daughter, 7 crew, and 701 barrels of industrial alcohol. On December 5th, the Dei Gratia found it adrift in the Atlantic, sails tattered but intact. No crew was aboard, though the ship was seaworthy, with cargo mostly intact, 9 barrels empty, personal items in place, and a half-eaten meal in the galley. The lifeboat was missing, and the last log entry, dated November 25th, showed no distress. Theories suggest the crew abandoned ship fearing an alcohol fume explosion, though no blast occurred. Storms, piracy, or mutiny lack evidence. The Mary Celeste remains a maritime icon, its crew's disappearance an enduring mystery. Mysterious disappearances at sea. The Mary Celeste, a haunting enigma. The Mary Celeste, a merchant brigantine, set sail from New York to Genoa, Italy, on November 7, 1872, carrying 1,701 barrels of industrial alcohol, with Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife, daughter, and 7 crew members aboard. On December 5th, the Dei Gratia found it adrift in the Atlantic, eerily intact but abandoned. The cargo was mostly untouched, 9 barrels empty, personal items remained, and a meal sat uneaten in the galley, with the lifeboat missing. The last log entry, dated November 25th, showed no distress. Theories suggest the crew feared an alcohol fume explosion, abandoning ship in a panic, though no explosion occurred. Piracy or mutiny, possibly involving the Dei Gratia crew, lacks evidence, as they were never charged. Rogue meteorological events like waterspouts, oceanic whirlwinds causing sudden pressure shifts might have flooded the deck, prompting a hasty evacuation. Supernatural tales of sea monsters or ghostly forces persist, fueled by the ocean's mystique, but remain unproven. Investigated in Gibraltar, the ship yielded no answers, was sold, and later deliberately wrecked off Haiti in 1885 for insurance fraud, cementing its cursed reputation. HMS Atalanta, a training ship lost. The HMS Atalanta, originally HMS Juno, a 1844 frigate converted into a Royal Navy training ship in 1878, left Bermuda for England in January 1880, with 281 men, mostly young cadets, under Captain Francis Sterling. The routine Atlantic crossing turned deadly when the ship vanished without distress signals or wreckage. A violent North Atlantic storm is the leading theory, as wooden ships were vulnerable to gales or white squalls, sudden, hurricane-force storms. A rogue wave, towering over 80 feet, could have capsized it instantly. Structural failure or mishandling by inexperienced cadets during a storm is also possible. Its last known position near the Bermuda Triangle sparked unproven speculation of mysterious forces. Despite extensive searches, no trace was found, leading the British Admiralty to presume a storm-related loss. The tragedy prompted safety reforms in naval training, but left families without closure, marking Atalanta as a somber maritime mystery. The Resolven, an empty merchant brig. In August 1884, the Resolven, a 130-ton merchant brig, sailed from Wales to Newfoundland with coal and goods under Captain John James. Days later, the HMS Mallard found it drifting off Newfoundland, sails set, but lifeless. The ship was intact, cargo untouched, with personal items in place and the captain's bed made. The logbook showed routine entries, but the lifeboat and crew were missing. Theories include a misjudged danger, perhaps fog, or an atmospheric phenomenon prompting abandonment, though the ship was undamaged. Piracy lacks evidence, as nothing was stolen. A rogue wave might have swept the crew off, but the hull showed no damage. Supernatural tales of curses or sea monsters emerged, reflecting the era's fears, but offer no proof. Towed to shore, the Resolven revealed no further clues, leaving the crew's sudden disappearance a perplexing ghost ship tale. The Bay Chimo, Arctic ghost ship. Built in 1914, the Bay Chimo, a steam-powered cargo ship, served the Hudson's Bay Company, transporting furs in Arctic waters. In 1931, early ice trapped it off Alaska. The crew tried to free it, but, facing a harsh winter, abandoned ship, building an ice shelter to wait out the season. A fierce blizzard struck, and when it cleared, the ship was gone. Inuit hunters soon spotted it drifting intact miles away. Deemed unsalvageable due to ice damage, it was officially abandoned, yet it didn't sink. Over decades, the Bay Chimo became a ghost ship, sighted repeatedly across the Arctic in 1932 by Inuit, 1933 by traders, and 1939 by explorers who boarded it, finding cargo preserved but fleeing another storm. Last seen in 1969, barely intact, it likely sank after 38 years, though no wreckage was found, leaving open the faint chance it lingers beneath the ice. HMS Erebus and HMS Terror, Arctic Doom. In 1845, HMS Erebus and HMS Terror, reinforced bomb vessels with steam engines, embarked under Sir John Franklin to chart the Northwest Passage, with 129 men and 3 years' provisions. Last seen in Baffin Bay, they vanished until 1848, when search parties found Inuit accounts of starving men resorting to cannibalism, confirmed by cut-marked bones. A 1848 note on King William Island revealed the ships were ice-trapped for over 18 months. Franklin died in 1847, and survivors trekked south, never surviving. In 2014, Erebus was found in Victoria Strait, and in 2016, Terror in Terror Bay, both preserved with artifacts intact. Lead poisoning from canned food, illness, scurvy, tuberculosis, or psychological strain like Arctic hysteria may have contributed, alongside ice and starvation. Rogue waves, though rare in the Arctic, remain a speculative factor. The wrecks offer clues, but the crew's final days remain hauntingly unclear. MV Joyita, a Pacific mystery. The MV Joyita, a 1931 luxury yacht turned cargo passenger ship after World War II, left Apia, Samoa, for the Tokelau Islands on October 3, 1955, with 16 crew and 9 passengers, including a doctor. The 270-mile journey should have taken 2 days, but Joyita never arrived. After weeks of fruitless searches, a merchant vessel found it on November 10th, 600 miles off course near Fiji, listing heavily and partially submerged. The ship's fate remains a mystery, to be explored further in historical records of Pacific maritime incidents. Enigmatic ghost ships of the sea. MV Joyita, a South Pacific riddle. On October 3, 1955, the MV Joyita, a repurposed luxury yacht turned cargo passenger ship, departed Apia, Samoa, for the Tokelau Islands, a 270-mile journey with 16 crew and 9 passengers, including a doctor. 5 weeks later, on November 10th, it was found 600 miles off course near Fiji, listing heavily and partially submerged. The engine was dead, the radio tuned to the distress frequency, but no call was sent. The ship was abandoned, with no trace of its 25 occupants. Cabins were chaotic, medical kits open, bloody bandages strewn about indicating injury. Lifeboats, logbook, and navigation gear were missing, and a hole marred the deck, though not catastrophic. The cargo, including oil barrels and medical supplies, remained untouched. Theories include mechanical failure causing a premature evacuation, yet the cork-lined hull kept it afloat. Piracy is unlikely, as valuables were left behind. A violent incident, possibly mutiny, is suggested by the blood, but no bodies or survivors confirm this. The failed distress call hints at sudden disruption. The Joyita remains a haunting modern ghost ship mystery, its passenger's fate unknown. SV Belle Amica, a modern Mediterranean ghost. In 2006, the Italian Coast Guard spotted the SV Belle Amica, a sleek luxury schooner, drifting near Capo Volpe, Sardinia, a scenic area popular with affluent tourists. The modern yacht, equipped with high-end gear, appeared pristine, stocked with fine food, half-eaten meals in the galley, clothes in cabins, and French maps on a table but no crew, distress signals, or signs of trouble. Its sudden abandonment sparked global intrigue, with initial theories of hijacking or paranormal events, reminiscent of the Mary Celeste. Investigations traced it to a Luxembourg owner who, per official reports, abandoned it due to financial or legal issues, avoiding port fees. Though a practical explanation, the image of an untouched yacht drifting silently in turquoise waters evokes an eerie unease, reflecting the sea ability to turn even a modern vessel into a ghostly shell when its crew vanishes unexpectedly. HMS Resolute. An Arctic survivor launched in 1850, HMS Resolute was a British Royal Navy ship tasked with searching for the lost Franklin expedition in the Arctic, which had vanished seeking the Northwest Passage. Built with a reinforced hull to endure Arctic ice, Resolute faced the region's harsh reality, shifting ice flows and brutal cold. In 1854, trapped in pack ice with no escape, the crew abandoned her, trekking across the ice to safety, expecting the ship to be crushed. Remarkably, in 1855, an American whaler found Resolute drifting in Baffin Bay, 200 miles south, intact and crewless, having freed itself from the ice. The ship was salvaged and returned to Britain as a goodwill gesture, later decommissioned. Its timbers were repurposed into the Resolute desk, gifted by Queen Victoria to the U.S. President, now in the Oval Office. Changing ice and currents likely freed it, but sailors saw it as a ship with a will to survive, a symbol of the Arctic's mysteries, tied to Franklin's unresolved fate. SS Waratah, the Southern Hemisphere's Titanic. The SS Waratah, a 465-foot luxury liner built in 1908 by the Blue Anchor Line, combined opulence with cargo capacity, ferrying passengers and goods like wool and metals between London and Australia. Despite a successful maiden voyage, some noted its top-heavy design, causing a sluggish roll in rough seas. On July 26, 1909, Waratah left Durban, South Africa for Cape Town, a route through turbulent waters where the Indian and Atlantic Oceans meet. The next day, the Clan McIntyre saw her steaming normally, the last confirmed sighting. Waratah vanished without distress signals or debris. Searches found nothing, and theories emerged. A rogue wave, known to form in the region and exceed 80 feet, may have capsized her, especially if her stability was compromised. Her design flaws or cargo shift could have led to a sudden sinking, or structural failure under ocean stress might have broken her apart. Eerie tales followed. Sailors reported ghostly sightings of a ship matching Waratah's description, vanishing in fog. Treasure hunter Emlyn Brown searched for her into the 2000s, but found only false leads. Waratah's silent disappearance remains a stark reminder of the ocean's unpredictability. The Jenny, a frozen Antarctic tale. In the 1820s, during the whaling and sealing boom, the Jenny, a small schooner reportedly from the Isle of Wight, ventured into the Southern Ocean's treacherous Antarctic waters for whale oil and seal skins. She vanished, presumed lost to ice or storms, a common fate for such ships. In 1840, the whaling ship Hope allegedly found her in the Drake Passage, encased in ice, sails tattered, with her crew frozen in place. The captain sat at his desk, pen in hand, his logbook's last entry dated May 4th, 1823. No food for 71 days, I am the only one left alive, written 17 years prior. The story, lacking official records of Jenny or Hope, may be a sailor's legend, but the Antarctic's freezing preservation seen in wrecks like Shackleton's Endurance makes it plausible. It reflects the era's brutal reality, ships trapped in ice-faced starvation or freezing, a fate mirrored by Franklin's expedition. Whether real or myth, Jenny's tale captures the terror of the Southern Ocean, where the cold can preserve a ship and its doomed crew indefinitely. SS Arctic, a transatlantic tragedy. Launched in 1850 by the Collins Line, the SS Arctic was a 300-foot sidewheel steamer, a symbol of American ambition to rival Britain's Cunard Line in the transatlantic luxury race. With elegant interiors, wood-paneled cabins, and grand dining rooms, it promised speed and comfort. On September 27, 1854, en route from Liverpool to New York with over 400 passengers, it collided with the smaller French ship Vesta off Newfoundland, puncturing its hull. The Arctic sank rapidly, and chaos ensued. The untrained crew prioritized themselves, launching half-empty lifeboats, leaving most women and children, including Captain James Luce's family, to perish. Only 85 survived, mostly crew. The disaster, exposing greed and inadequate safety, led to stricter lifeboat laws and damage Collins Line's reputation, contributing to its decline. The wreck's location remains unknown, though fishermen report ghostly lights and a phantom steamer with broken paddle wheels off Newfoundland, adding a spectral layer to this 19th century tragedy. SS Kamloops, the ghost of Lake Superior. The SS Kamloops, a 250-foot Canadian steamship built in 1924, hauled cargo across the Great Lakes. On December 6, 1927, it left Fort William, Ontario, for Isle Royale with machinery, piping, and food, when a fierce winter storm struck Lake Superior. The ship vanished, no distress call, no wreckage until life jackets washed ashore months later. In 1977, divers found it 260 feet below, near Isle Royale, remarkably preserved by the lake's cold, oxygen-poor waters. Inside the engine room, a body, nicknamed Old Whitey for its waxy, pale skin, floated, preserved by the frigid depths. Likely a crew member, possibly an engineer, Old Whitey's eerie presence drifting as if guarding the wreck unsettles divers, some feeling watched. The storm likely capsized the ice-laden ship, but the lack of distress signals remains unexplained. Lake Superior's reputation as a cursed lake, preserving bodies and wrecks, amplifies the Kamloops' haunting legacy as a dive site and maritime mystery. Modern maritime mysteries, MV Derbyshire, a giant lost to the storm. Launched in 1976, the MV Derbyshire was a colossal bulk carrier, stretching over 965 feet, surpassing the Titanic in size. Operated by Bibby Line, this engineering marvel was designed to transport massive loads of iron ore and oil across global oceans, built to endure the harshest sea conditions. In July 1980, she departed Canada with 157,000 tons of iron ore, bound for Japan, carrying 42 crew members and 2 wives accompanying their husbands. On September 9th, near Okinawa, the ship encountered Typhoon Orchid, a ferocious storm with 70-foot waves and 85 mph winds. Despite her size and design, Derbyshire vanished during the storm, no distress call, no survivors. A search found only an oil slick and debris like lifeboat fragments and cargo hatches. A rogue wave, now scientifically validated as a real phenomenon capable of exceeding 100 feet, is a leading theory, especially given the storm's conditions. These waves, formed by chaotic ocean dynamics, could have overwhelmed her low-riding deck, flooding the holds. A 1990s underwater search located her wreck 2 miles deep, scattered across a debris field. Failed hatch covers allowed water to rush in, causing a rapid sinking within minutes. The disaster prompted stricter maritime regulations for bulk carriers, mandating reinforced hatch covers and better cargo monitoring, improving future safety. Derbyshire's fate underscores the ocean's untamed power, where even giants can fall to a single wave. SS President, a pioneering steamship's end. The SS President, launched in 1840 by the British and American Steam Navigation Company, was a 245-foot steamship heralding a new era of transatlantic travel. Combining sails with steam power, she aimed to deliver luxury and speed between Liverpool and New York. Despite a successful maiden voyage, her experimental design raised concerns. She sat low in the water, sluggish in rough seas, potentially prone to flooding. On March 11, 1841, she left New York for Britain with 136 passengers and crew, carrying mail and cargo straight into a fierce North Atlantic gale. She never arrived, leaving no debris, lifeboats, or survivors. Theories suggest the storm overwhelmed her, flooding her holds, or a mechanical failure in her early steam system's boilers or propellers caused her demise. An iceberg collision was speculated but unproven. Her disappearance, one of the first major steamship losses, highlighted the risks of untested technology, influencing more cautious ship designs thereafter. The President's wreck remains undiscovered, a silent testament to the Atlantic's enduring dominance over early innovation. The Octavius, a frozen legend. In 1761, the Octavius, a 3-masted merchant ship, sailed from England to China, successfully loading cargo. Her captain opted to attempt the uncharted Northwest Passage, a perilous Arctic route to shorten the return. She vanished for 13 years until 1775, when the whaling ship Herald found her drifting off Greenland, encased in frost, sails tattered. Aboard, the crew was frozen solid, the captain at his desk, pen in hand, with a logbook entry detailing their entrapment in ice, leading to a slow death by freezing. The Herald's crew, unnerved, took the logbook and left the ship, which soon disappeared again. While possibly a sailor's tale to deter Arctic ventures, the story aligns with the region's harsh reality. Ice traps and extreme cold can preserve bodies and ships for years, as seen in historical Arctic expeditions. No wreck has been found, leaving Octavius a chilling emblem of the sea's ability to freeze its victims in time. Truk Lagoon, the ghost fleet of the Pacific. Truk Lagoon, now Truk Lagoon, in Micronesia, hides a haunting underwater graveyard beneath its turquoise surface. During World War II, on February 1, 1944, Operation Hailstone saw American forces bombard this Japanese naval base for 2 days, sinking over 60 ships and hundreds of aircraft. Warships, tankers, and transports were obliterated, creating a ghost fleet preserved on the lagoon's floor. Divers in the 1960s found the wreck's remarkably intact cargo holds with tanks, trucks, and aircraft parts, alongside human remains like skulls in engine rooms and skeletons at workstations. The San Francisco Maru holds bombs and shells, a testament to the violence of their end. Ships rest upright or at angles, some exploded into debris fields. Divers report eerie sensations, metallic clangs, sudden currents, or a feeling of being watched, heightening the site's mystique. Truk Lagoon is both a historical time capsule and a war grave, its artifacts revealing lives cut short. Yet the wrecks are deteriorating, and its remoteness complicates preservation efforts, leaving some secrets, possibly hidden documents or technology potentially undiscovered as time erodes this underwater museum. USS Scorpion, a Cold War enigma. The USS Scorpion, a skipjack-class nuclear submarine commissioned in 1960, was a Cold War asset, 252 feet long, equipped with nuclear torpedoes and advanced surveillance tech to track Soviet movements. By 1968, the aging vessel had missed a needed overhaul due to operational demands. On May 21, 1968, she sent a routine message while patrolling near the Azores, observing Soviet activity, then vanished. Found 5 months later, 10,000 feet below the Atlantic, her hull was shattered into sections. The Navy AS inquiry pointed to a torpedo malfunction, an internal explosion from a faulty battery or firing sequence causing rapid sinking. However, alternative theories persist. Some suggest a Soviet attack, as her loss followed the mysterious sinking of Soviet sub K-129, hinting at a covert clash both sides concealed. Declassified records confirm she was monitoring Soviet vessels, fueling speculation. Mechanical issues, leaks, a faulty propeller shaft, and an unreliable emergency blow system support a failure theory, possibly a reactor or propulsion breakdown, leading to an uncontrollable dive. Wreckage analysis shows ambiguous damage, with some experts noting signs of an external explosion, though unlikely. Crew concerns about her condition before departure add to the mystery. The Scorpion's fate remains debated, a Cold War puzzle blending technology, geopolitics, and the ocean's depths. Haunting tales of lost ships. USS Scorpion, a Cold War submarine mystery. The USS Scorpion, a skipjack-class nuclear submarine, vanished in May 1968 during a routine patrol near the Azores, carrying 99 crew members. Last heard from on May 21st, with a normal radio message, the submarine disappeared without further contact. Discovered 5 months later at 10,000 feet in the Atlantic, her hull was broken into sections. The Navy attributed the loss to an internal explosion, likely a torpedo malfunction, causing rapid sinking. However, theories of Soviet involvement persist. Crew concerns about her condition before departure deepen the mystery. The Scorpion's silent wreckage remains a Cold War enigma, a testament to the ocean's depths and the unresolved questions of 99 lost sailors. SS Noronic, a vanished Victorian steamer. Built in 1892 by Harland and Wolff, the SS Noronic was a 470-foot British steamship designed for transatlantic cargo and passenger transport. On February 11, 1893, she left Liverpool for New York with 74 crew members and cargo, including cattle. She vanished in the North Atlantic without a trace. Search efforts yielded 2 empty lifeboats off Newfoundland, indicating an evacuation, but no survivors or wreckage emerged. Unverified bottled messages, one claiming an iceberg strike, another citing a storm surfaced, though likely hoaxes. An iceberg collision in icy February waters is a leading theory, as Noronic lacked modern detection tech. A mechanical failure, such as a boiler explosion or hull breach, or a rogue wave in the storm-prone North Atlantic are also possible. The absence of confirmed debris or bodies leaves her fate hauntingly unclear, a lesser-known maritime mystery overshadowed by later disasters like the Titanic, yet a stark reminder of the ocean's relentless power over even the era's best ships. MV Raifuku, Maru, a Bermuda Triangle enigma. The MV Raifuku Maru, a Japanese cargo ship from the early 1920s, set sail from Boston to Hamburg in April 1925, carrying wheat through the Atlantic near the Bermuda Triangle. On April 21st, a chilling distress call. Danger like a dagger now, come quick, cut off abruptly. Nearby ships, including the SS Homeric, found no trace, no wreckage, lifeboats, or survivors. The cryptic message suggests a sudden, terrifying event. A rogue wave, now a scientifically recognized phenomenon, could explain the rapid sinking, especially in the North Atlantic's volatile waters. Though just north of the Bermuda Triangle, the incident fueled its mystique of inexplicable disappearances. A sudden storm or cargo shift causing an explosion are alternatives, but the poetic distress call hints at something beyond typical maritime threats. The Raifuku Maru's vanishing, with no debris or answers, remains a haunting maritime tale, echoing the ocean's ability to erase ships and leave only whispers of their fate. The Palatine Light, a ghostly New England legend. In 1738, the Princess Augusta, often called the Palatine, sailed from Rotterdam to the American colonies with over 150 German immigrants seeking a better life. Plagued by storms, dwindling supplies, and alleged crew cruelty, the ship met disaster off Block Island, Rhode Island. Some say it ran aground in a winter storm. Others claim locals used false lights to lure it onto rocks for looting. Many passengers drowned, and survivors reportedly died from exposure or at the hands of scavengers. Historical records confirm the wreck, but the story evolved into folklore. Since the 18th century, locals report seeing the Palatine Light, a flickering glow or fiery ship, during stormy winter nights, believed to be the spectral echo of the tragedy. Explanations like St. Elmo's fire or bioluminescence are proposed, but the consistent sightings of a flaming vessel defy easy dismissal. The Palatine Light blends historical suffering with supernatural lore, a haunting symbol of desperation and the sea's enduring mysteries. SS Bintang, a W Atu vanishing. The SS Bintang, a Dutch steamship from the early 20th century, transported cargo across the Pacific and Indian Oceans. In early 1941, amidst World War II, she left the Dutch East Indies with cargo, possibly rubber, tin, or sensitive wartime materials. She disappeared without a confirmed distress signal or enemy contact. Fragmented radio transmissions, garbled and static-laden, hinted at an onboard emergency, but no wreckage or survivors were found initially. Theories include a Japanese submarine attack, an explosion from unstable cargo, or even deliberate erasure due to a secret payload. Years later, a piece of hull plating with Dutch markings was found near Australia, though never officially tied to Bintang. Wartime sailors reported strange, unclaimed radio signals in the region, possibly hers, adding to the intrigue. The Bintang's fate remains elusive, her wreckage likely scattered in deep trenches, a ghostly reminder of how war and sea can erase a ship from history. MV Blythe Star, a modern survival saga. The MV Blythe Star, a small coastal freighter built in 1955, operated between Tasmania and mainland Australia. On October 13, 1973, she left Hobart for King Island with 10 crew members, under calm conditions. Off Tasmania's western coast, she began taking on water rapidly, sinking without a distress call. The crew abandoned ship in an inflatable life raft, drifting for over a week in the Southern Ocean. 3 men succumbed to hypothermia and dehydration before the raft reached Tasmania's Forestier Peninsula. The survivors trekked through rugged bushland to a farmhouse for rescue. The wreck, found in 2023 at 150 meters deep, showed no clear cause, no collision or explosion. Theories suggest a hull breach from shifting cargo or an undetected crack in the aging vessel, flooding her too quickly for a radio call. The Blythe Star, ES, sudden sinking, and the crew, S, harrowing survival, highlight the sea. S unpredictability, even in modern times, leaving her loss a lingering enigma. HMS Wasp, a cursed eviction ship. Launched in 1880, the HMS Wasp was a Royal Navy gunboat tasked with administrative duties along Ireland's coast during the Land War. On September 21, 1884, she sailed from Westport, County Mayo, to Tory Island, Donegal, to deliver bailiffs for evictions, a deeply resented mission. Near Tory Island, she struck rocks and sank rapidly, killing 52 of her 58 crew. Only 6 survived, rescued by islanders. Official reports cite navigational error in dangerous waters with poor visibility. However, local folklore suggests a curse by residents opposed to the evictions, claiming the ship was doomed by sea spirits. Survivors reported a failed compass before the crash, fueling supernatural theories. Tales of ghostly lights or a phantom ship seen that night persist, though likely rooted in superstition. The Wasp's scattered wreck lies near Tory Island, a symbol of maritime peril and Ireland's turbulent history, blending fact with eerie legend. Baron Gouch, an Adriatic wartime tragedy. Launched in 1908 for the Austrian Lloyd Shipping Company, the Baron Gouch was a luxurious Austro-Hungarian passenger steamer plying the Adriatic between Trieste and Kotor. On August 13, 1914, early in World War I, she deviated from her route and struck a mine in an Austro-Hungarian defensive minefield. A massive explosion ripped through her hull, sinking her in under 10 minutes. Around 150 of the 330 passengers and crew perished amidst chaotic evacuation efforts. Found decades later off the Croatian coast at 130 feet, the wreck remains intact, with personal items and furnishings preserved, though a gaping hole marks the mine's impact. Divers report an eerie stillness, some feeling watched, and occasional human remains add to the haunting atmosphere. Theories of navigational error, ignored warnings, or sabotage persist, but no evidence confirms foul play. The Baron Gouch, a wartime casualty of her own navy's defenses, stands as a preserved relic of luxury turned tragedy, her elegance decaying under the Adriatic's weight. The Flying Dutchman, a cursed maritime myth. Emerging in the 17th century, the Flying Dutchman legend centers on Dutch captain Hendrik van der Decken sailing to the East Indies. Facing a storm at the Cape of Good Hope, he swore to round the Cape even if it took eternity, cursing his ship to sail forever. The ghostly vessel, a harbinger of doom, is said to appear glowing in storms, defying natural laws. Historical sightings, like one in 1881 by future King George V off Australia, where a glowing ship vanished, followed by a crewman's death, lend credence. The Cape's treacherous storms and rogue waves likely inspired the tale, possibly amplified by mirages like Fata Morgana, creating illusions of floating ships. Modern reports of glowing vessels near the Cape persist, keeping the legend alive. The Flying Dutchman embodies the sea's mystique, a timeless warning of nature's wrath and human hubris, existing between myth and the ocean's enduring secrets. HMS Eurydice, a training ship's ghostly return. Built in 1843, the HMS Eurydice was a 26-gun Royal Navy frigate, repurposed by the 1870s as a training ship. On March 6, 1878, she sailed from Bermuda to Portsmouth, England, with nearly 400 crew and trainees. Nearing the Isle of Wight on March 24th, a sudden snow squall struck. The storm overwhelmed the wooden ship, capsizing her rapidly. Only 2 survived, with over 300 lost. Raised later that year, she was decommissioned, her timbers repurposed. The disaster, one of Britain's worst peacetime naval losses, spurred safety reforms, emphasizing weather preparedness. Sightings of a spectral frigate off the Isle of Wight persist, often before storms, believed to be Eurydice's ghost. Explanations include mirages or local lore, but the consistent reports tie her to maritime superstition, a haunting reminder of nature's sudden fury and the lives lost to unpreparedness. Ghostly ships and maritime secrets. HMS Eurydice, a tragic loss and spectral sightings. In 1878, the HMS Eurydice, a 26-gun Royal Navy frigate turned training ship, embarked from Bermuda to Portsmouth, England, with nearly 400 crew and trainees. On March 24th, nearing the Isle of Wight, a sudden snow squall struck, capsizing the ship as her sails caught the storm's force, and water flooded through open gun ports. Only 2 survived, clinging to debris. Over 300 perished, trapped in the hull or lost to the icy waters. The disaster stunned Britain, a stark blow to the Royal Navy's prestige. Partially salvaged, the wreck lies in shallow waters off the Isle of Wight. Soon after, locals and sailors reported sightings of a ghostly frigate, sails billowing despite calm winds, appearing near the site of her sinking. Some accounts, including one by Prince Edward, future King Edward VII, describe hailing the silent ship before it vanished. Theories attribute the apparitions to mirages or atmospheric effects, but the consistent reports fuel her reputation as a ghost ship, a haunting echo of her sudden demise and a warning of the sea's unpredictability in peacetime. SS Richard Montgomery, a ticking time bomb. The SS Richard Montgomery, an American Liberty ship built in 1943, was a Wubby-Tui vessel designed to transport munitions across the Atlantic. In August 1944, loaded with 7,000 tons of explosives, she ran aground on a sandbank in the Thames estuary near Sheerness, England. As tides shifted, her hull cracked and water seeped into the holds. Authorities evacuated the ship, leaving the cargo behind as salvage became too risky. The ship split in 2, her masts still visible above water, marking a deadly hazard in a busy shipping lane. An explosion could unleash a tidal wave, devastate nearby towns, and create a massive seabed crater. For over 80 years, the wreck has been monitored, but the munitions' stability is uncertain. Some experts suggest corrosion has made them volatile, while others believe silt preserves them. Proposals to neutralize the cargo are deemed too dangerous, risking detonation. The Richard Montgomery remains a real threat, not a spectral one. Her deadly potential, a constant reminder of war, as lingering dangers in the heart of modern shipping routes. Zebrina, the abandoned schooner of WWI. The Zebrina, a schooner barge built in 1873, was a modest vessel transporting coal along the English Channel during World War I. On September 17, 1917, she left Falmouth, England, for Saint-Brieuc, France, with a crew of 5. 2 days later, she was found drifting near Cherbourg, France, completely intact, her hull undamaged, cargo untouched, but her crew had vanished without a trace. No signs of struggle, distress signals, or lifeboats were found. A German U-boat attack is a plausible theory, as U-boats often captured crews and scuttled ships. Yet Zebrina's pristine condition contradicts this. She wasn't sunk or damaged. Another possibility is the crew abandoned ship fearing an attack, but no lifeboats or survivors were spotted in the busy Channel waters. A sudden event accident, illness, or panic might have driven them to flee, though the lack of missing supplies or signals undermines this. Towed to port, Zebrina later resumed service and became a houseboat by the 1930s, but her crew's fate remains unknown, cementing her as a haunting WWI mystery of a ship left perfectly preserved, yet eerily empty. Seabird, an early American ghost ship. In the 1750s, the Seabird, a merchant brig, sailed along America's Atlantic coast. Found drifting off Newport, Rhode Island, the ship was in seaworthy condition, with provisions, cargo, and personal belongings intact, yet her crew had disappeared without signs of struggle or distress. A dog, the only living thing aboard, offered no clues. Fishermen who boarded her expected piracy, a storm, or disease, but found no evidence of foul play. Theories suggest a sudden storm or currents forced a panicked evacuation, though the untouched cargo disputes piracy. More speculative ideas propose an inexplicable event drove the crew to flee, leaving everything behind. Some accounts claim the seabird was salvaged, renamed the Beachbird, and sailed for years before being lost to history. Her crew's fate remains a mystery, one of America's earliest ghost ship tales, highlighting the sea's ability to erase lives while leaving a vessel hauntingly intact, adrift as a silent enigma. HMS Challenger, pioneering the abyss. Commissioned in the mid-19th century as a Royal Navy corvette, the HMS Challenger was repurposed in 1872 for a groundbreaking scientific expedition. Stripped of guns and equipped as a floating laboratory, she embarked on a nearly 4-year journey, led by Captain George Nares and scientist Charles Wyville Thompson. Starting from Portsmouth, England, on December 21, 1872, the ship traversed the Atlantic, Indian, and Pacific Oceans, mapping the seafloor, measuring depths, and studying marine life. In March 1875, she discovered the Challenger Deep in the Mariana Trench, over 8,000 meters deep, the ocean's deepest point, proving the seafloor's extreme depths. The expedition also found life in the abyss, cataloging over 4,700 new species, including bioluminescent fish and gelatinous creatures, defying beliefs of a barren ocean floor. Challenger mapped underwater mountains and trenches, laying the foundation for oceanography. Decommissioned in 1876 and later scrapped, her legacy endures in marine science. Unofficial accounts mention eerie events, strange noises from the deep, unexplained lights, and rumored crew disappearances, but official records dismiss these, leaving her true mystery in the uncharted depths she revealed. Water Witch. A schooner's ghostly drift. The Water Witch, a mid-19th century schooner, was a fast, reliable trader along the U.S. eastern coast. On a routine voyage south in the mid-1800s, she vanished, no distress signals, wreckage, or word of her fate. Weeks later, sightings emerged of a ship matching her description, drifting with tattered sails. Some reported shadowy figures on deck, vanishing into mist. One chilling tale claims a boarding party found her intact cargo secure, belongings untouched but empty, with an eerie silence and whispers on the wind, as if watched. Theories range from a storm capsizing her while sparing the ship to mutiny or piracy, though no evidence supports violence. Supernatural explanations linger in folklore. The sightings eventually ceased, suggesting she sank or broke apart, but her crew's disappearance remains unsolved. The Water Witch endures as a maritime legend, a ghostly vessel that sailed into the unknown. Her story a haunting reminder of the ocean's mysteries and the secrets it keeps.